in Russia. And behind us is Paulo Guerrero. He will be going to Russia, Shanka, with Peru. His ban has been overturned. I wonder if that's going to affect your picks. Let's look at your group picks first, shall we? And yes, it does. Peru.
It does. Group C, Peru go through at the expense of Denmark and Australia. But Group A, I think the hosts go crashing out.
You think they go crashing out?
I think they go crashing out. And despite Mo Salah missing for what will probably going to be the first game, Egypt go through.
And you go Costa Rica accompanying Brazil through an E?
Yeah, a lot of love for CONCACAF and for CAF. Senegal in Group F come out with Colombia, England, Belgium, Germany, Mexico. No huge surprises there, I don't think.
There's some different picks from the picks we've seen before. So that leads us to a very interesting round of 16.
Yes, sir.
Spain against Egypt.
Spain against Egypt. And unfortunately, this is where it all comes unstuck for Egypt.
Despite their 45-year-old goalkeeper, you think he's going to be playing no further part?
Yeah, I think this is where it all comes to a screeching 45-year-old halt.
All right.
And despite Guerrero, Argentina get the better of Peru as well.
South American encounter. Germany, Costa Rica, opening game in 06.
Yeah, but Germany, you just got to fancy Germany as usual. And I think Belgium get the better of Colombia here. I still feel there are a lot of question marks about Belgium, but they get the better of Colombia.
That would be a tasty round of 16 matchup. The other half of the bracket.
Yep, I go Uruguay, Portugal after they top Group A. I go France to get the better of Nigeria.
Yeah, they meet each other last time around in the round of 16, didn't they?
Yep. Brazil get the better of Mexico. Feel sorry for Mexico. It comes to a screeching halt there.
Now, come on.
This is my surprise.
England winning.
Yeah,
is your surprise.
I expect England to top the group, and then all of a sudden that relative success gets to their heads.
Don't do it.
And I go for Senegal to second highest ranked team in Africa. Get the better of the English. I'm not just saying that to upset you, Adrian.
I guess round of 16 would be a moral victory.
I've got to go. There you go.
You tried to jump ahead, didn't you?
I did.
Quarterfinals. Spain, Argentina.
Argentina very good up front. Everything else I'm not so sure about. Spain, one of the more balanced teams in this tournament. And again, I mentioned I've got question marks about Belgium. Nobody ever has questions about Germany. That's where that goes.
I would set up Spain-Germany semi. Other half.
Uruguay, France. I think this is the toughest of the cores, but I go for France to get the better of Uruguay. And I go for Brazil to put an end to my fairy tale Senegalese story.
Having beaten England, you don't think they can then beat Brazil?
No.
I can't believe it.
No. You know what England are like in these big tournaments. And here, for all the marbles, Brazil get the better of France.
Yeah.
Germany
get
the better of Spain. I think their lack of a striker. Diego Costa has been great at national football, domestic football. I just feel unproven and hasn't shown me enough on the international stage. That's why I go for Germany.
So, setting up a repeat of the semi-final from 4 years ago. Is there going to be revenge?
There will be. Many ghosts will be buried here. Brazil to go on and win the World Cup 2018.
I believe you are not exactly the first of our experts to pick Brazil.
I've got all my picks right, though.
Well, stunning revelation that I don't think many of us were expecting to wake up to this morning. All the talk has been Ronaldo and Bales as the Champions League.
It was a surprise, but that's what a lot of these modern-day managers seem to be doing, and you can't deny him that he has his right to do that. But what I would say is, and he's been hugely successful going in there, but he's managed a great club, he's managed with great players, but he's managed them well. But I still think he needs to be judged when he goes somewhere else if he can pick a team up with the scruff of the neck.
As to the reasons as to why he's resigned now, do you take him at his word, what he's saying?
I don't understand the word he was saying.
Well, he basically said, I think it would be difficult to continue winning if I stayed. I mean, that was quite stark.
So, I mean, I look at people like Ferguson, and I look at people even like Wenger. It was going to be difficult for them to keep winning, but they hung in there and they dug it out and they rebuilt, particularly Ferguson.
I sympathise. You saw Pep Guardiola walk away from Barcelona after 4 years and unprecedented success himself. Now Zinedine Zidane has taken him an even shorter period before he just gets worn out. And I think clubs like Real Madrid can do that to you. And I thought it was also key that he stressed he's not tired of coaching. He thinks he can go on and keep coaching. yet still he's walking away from arguably the biggest job in world football. That says that it's more than what happens on the field. It's about so much more, and it's just wore him down. 9
titles as we bring in Gab Marcotti out of the 13 he could have won in his, what wasn't even 3 full years, was it, Gab? The basic question, why, and why now?
Well, I think he alluded to it. You know, he was careful. He said he's not tired of coaching. He did use the term that he was a bit worn out at this stage. But I think, you know, the answer was there plain in front of our faces. You know, he went through a season where he saw the gap with Barcelona in the league. He saw the performances in the Champions League where, of course, they won in the end, but, you know, they were outplayed for long stretches against Bayern, against Paris Saint-Germain. They lost at home to Juventus. And I think he asked himself, okay, so what's ahead? And the indication is that what's ahead is a rebuild. I don't think it's a coincidence that Gareth Bale and Cristiano Ronaldo kind of put the idea out there that they might not be back next year. And he said, do I want to go through a rebuild where, you know, we lose 4 or 5 veterans, the people who got us here, and then start over with new players? No, I don't think I want to do that. And to what Craig said about judging him versus Ferguson and Wenger, that may be true, but I really don't think Zinedine Zidane thinks of, oh, gee, I better stay here so I can be one of the greatest managers ever. I really don't think that's his measuring stick or that he cares. He's Zizou.
Yeah, but I'm not suggesting he cares what anybody thinks, Gab. What I'm saying is there are so many people who have come out there putting this guy on a pedestal for the success that he's had, and he has had success. But for the very reasons you mentioned there, Gab, about he doesn't want the rebuild, and he doesn't. The great managers have really put themselves up for the battle through thick and thin. Ferguson had his problems, he rebuilt, he went again. He had his problems, he rebuilt, he went again. That's the stock of a great manager, and it won't be until Zidane does that and pulls a club up with the scruff of his neck to success that we can really judge him.
Gab, is it definitely going to be a rebuild situation for Real Madrid? Is this what's driving it for Zidane? Because they seem to be built to win now.
Yeah, that's one of the odd situations, and obviously Zidane knows the club's plans better than you or I do. On paper, you look at this, the average age of the starting 11 in Kiev was 29 years old. You go up and down the squad, and you see a whole bunch of guys who are locked into long-term contracts through 2021, 2022. Most of these guys make a lot of money, so even though they're very good players, throw in their age, they're actually not that easy to move, to bring money in. And if you look at the team, the last starter to have been, or the last time Real Madrid brought in starters was in 2014 when Toni Kroos and Keylor Navas went and joined the club. And remember, Navas didn't start right away. So there's a case to be made that, you know, now is the time that the club needs to go and think about bringing in 2, 3, 4, 5 more superstars. And that's going to involve a rebuild. And I think he also looked around and again, saw some of Bale and Ronaldo's antics after the Champions League final and said, do I really want to be a part of this again, go through this process, or have I kind of proven my point and now try and experience elsewhere?
Well, not many managers have got to leave Real Madrid on their own terms. In fact, you have to go back to Fabio Capello at his first spell for the last to leave of his own will. The odds for the next manager, of course, this is going to be dominating our conversation for quite some time now. Interesting that Pochettino is amongst the bookies. He's not the favourite. If you look at the latest odds, Gab, Arsene Wenger at 5-4 is actually top of the list. What do you make of that?
I mean, look, all of this happened so quickly. I certainly take Florentino Perez actually at face value when he says, he first found out about this on Wednesday. I think right now, looking at these odds lists, they're pretty meaningless. Real Madrid have not moved yet. They may have an idea, but nothing's actually happened. Pochettino would would certainly be somebody who's, I think he's made it clear he'd love to go back to Spain, but you have the big hurdle of that big contract he signed with Tottenham, and obviously the need to go and negotiate now with Daniel Levy, which is never easy. Arsene Wenger obviously is available. Strong suggestions they might go for an internal solution. Somebody like Guti, who obviously spent more than 20 years at the club as a player, going back to his time in the youth academy, and who for the last 5 years has been coaching at youth level. And of course, like Zidane, he was a part of those Galactico teams. So they have different options in front of them. I think going for an external candidate, I don't think there's an obvious choice.
It is that time, ESPN FC Extra Time. Adrian Healy, Shaka Hislop, and look who we hauled back off the Yorkshire golf courses.
Look at that smile on his face.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
He's so happy to be back.
In fact, we really just want you to give us a full breakdown of the Yorkshire golf courses for this edition of Extra Time. We can do that.
I can break down the pubs.
Yeah, what you can remember of them.
The 19th holes.
The weather was good.
Was spectacular.
The weather was good.
I can
in
see
England,
that.
as you know.
Yeah.
Well, as you well know as well, having lived there for many a year, it was actually pleasant.
The end of May can be dicey.
Tricky.
Yeah, especially up there in Yorkshire.
Every time of the year can be a bit dicey in
Yeah.
England. Not just the end of May.
All right. Good to have you back, sir. You may have read or seen a little bit about the Sergio Ramos, Mo Salah tangle.
Is it still going?
Yeah?
Have you signed the petition, more importantly?
Well, Jason wants to know, why did 500,000 people sign a petition to punish Ramos?
There's 500,000 people with nothing better to do in their life. There's 500,000 people who need to get up in the morning and look themselves in the mirror and say, have I got nothing better to do in my life than sign a petition over a challenge on a football field?
It is a little bizarre, I've got to say. More than a little bizarre.
Well, who starts the petition? Who wakes up in the morning and says, I'm going to have to put a petition together.
Right.
And I'm going to have to take it to UEFA and
He needs to be
FIFA.
punished.
And people mustn't make challenges anymore. Somebody's woke up and thought that. And then 499,999 other people
signed that.
People, idiots, have signed it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you've got nothing better to do.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious me.
Apparently not. I don't know if
It'll be 600,000 tomorrow.
it will.
I'm signing a petition to get me off this show next. How many of that? Get a few, wouldn't it?
Where do I sign?
Well, yeah, I was
Say
gonna say-
500,000.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of my
Dan
colleagues.
Thomas is leading the petition right now. Given the age of one Sergio Ramos and Cristiano Ronaldo and a few others, maybe you could throw in there, the over 30 brigade, are we witnessing the end of an era for Real Madrid? Says Stefan. And Shaka, you can chip in
I
on
believe
that
it. Craig likes end of an era.
Well, we had this.
Do you like
I won't go into in detail, but I did have an argument with several of my colleagues about the end of an era at Barcelona at the start of the season,
Yeah.
when they tried to pummel me that it was the end of an era, and I was like, hold on, just slow down a minute. It's not always just black and white.
Right.
You know what I mean? There are some middle ground here.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, they had quite a successful season. So I don't think so.
No.
No, well, not for Real Madrid.
A lot of
but-
people have jumped to that because there's
No,
a
but
lot of
I mean-
over 30s now.
Yeah, and understandably, all players come to an end at some point or the other. Even players like Cristiano Ronaldo and Sergio Ramos. I think the thing with Real Madrid is they certainly have enough young talent coming through, heavily linked with Neymar. If they can do that, yes, they come to an era in one sense, but it's a pretty smooth transition into the next.
Not surprisingly, Real Madrid dominating the questions. Honey is going to get on the act with Zinedine Zidane gone now. Does that mean that Gareth Bale stays at Madrid? Benzema finally is sold this summer. Is that how it's all going
I think as a player, I think certainly as a player when you're at loggerheads, and maybe that's the wrong terminology, but when you're certainly not the favourite of the manager, as Gareth Bale wasn't under Zidane in the end, and in your mind you're thinking I might need to go to pastures new. When that changes, you do take a back step, unless of course he's had enough of living in Madrid and he wants to say return to England or go to Germany, which has been reported with Bayern Munich. I would find that surprising about leaving the Madrid lifestyle and the weather and playing at the Bernabeu. I think it is purely a management issue. So if that with that changing, I think what he'll do with his agent is probably sit back, wait and see who's coming in, how it's going to pan out, and then they'll make a decision. So I would say his mindset will probably, I think, have changed.
Yeah, look, you understand Gareth Bale feeling the way he did and saying what he said immediately after the Champions League final. The fact of the matter is there are a lot of hurdles between Gareth Bale leaving the Bernabeu and going in anywhere else, namely a transfer fee, who's willing to pay that now, and still match his wages. Now all of a sudden you got a fresh opportunity with a new manager, with Zidane stepping down. Maybe that's the clean slate you're looking for. So expect Gareth Bale to say no more for the next couple of months. There's a World Cup to get through, and then all of a sudden as teams start focusing on next season, maybe you start to see some of that dust settle.
Let's not kid ourselves here. If he thinks he's going to play, and he's at Real Madrid, and he's living in Madrid, and he's happy with all that when you throw it in, do you really think he wants to come back and play in England?
There's not many better places to be.
Even at somewhere like Man United or Man City or Chelsea or like whatever. Madrid to that, if he's happy, no chance.
Did you guys both play against Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard at the start?
When
no, I never.
No Gerrard for you.
I did. Frank was a young boy at West Ham when I played against him, and Stephen was a young boy coming through at Liverpool. Very young.
How do you think they both? So they both, bizarrely enough, have turned down full-time TV punditry, which they've been doing a bit of this year, and have thrown their hand in the club management. How are they going to do? Lampard's going to Derby in the Euro team, and Steven Gerrard.
Well, they would pop up in the punditry now and again. I mean, they weren't exactly on every week.
Right.
Frank in particular spoke well, in my opinion. He's Steven Gerrard taking the Rangers job is a huge job. I mean, it's like people are saying, it's a good one to just test.
Just give a compliment to another broadcaster. I don't think we've heard that before.
What's that?
You're saying Lampard was a good pundit?
No, I didn't say he was a good talker.
Oh, good talker. Okay. Glad we clarified.
I mean, it's.
But the two.
I didn't see much of Frank.
Do you think the two of them are management?
I don't watch much of the other people, but whatever they do, they do.
Management potential.
Look, I don't know because Gerrard's gone into a very difficult situation at Rangers. It's very fractured behind the scenes. They're miles behind Celtic. They've had huge problems. It's not a great squad of players. He needs money. Have they got it? I doubt that very much. Frank got into the Championship at my old club, Derby County. It is a bear pit, the Championship. Rangers will have expected to challenge Celtic. I don't think that will happen unless they spend a lot of money. And Derby will be expected to get promotion. Frank might get some money to spend, but what, they play 46 games in the league alone? It's tough. The answer is you just don't know until you get in there and see if it's for him.
What's your gut feeling, Shaka, about these two?
I'm like, I can't make a decision. It's such an inexact science. You've got great players who make great managers. Zidane, who also in the headlines, Pep Guardiola. You've got players or managers who never played the game. Say Alex Ferguson, Jose Mourinho.
Whoa, let me stop. He did play.
But not to that level is what I'm saying. Not to the level that we're talking about here in terms of management. And you have everything in between.
And plenty of great players have not made.
And have failed. A number of great managers have failed.
I played under Ruud and played under played under Ruud Gullit, and the big man struggled in that department. All the clubs he's been at, and he came over here. He struggled over here in the US. He struggled at Newcastle. He had some success at Chelsea, but he struggled with the management of players. I don't know. I don't know how both these will handle. Looking at the personalities from the outside, it would seem Lampard would be more, have a better chance of dealing with players than Steven Gerrard. That's only looking from the outside at kind of how their personalities are. I think Frank's a bit more easygoing, probably tough as all boots behind it all. But it's about how they're going to deal with players. Two things: money and dealing with players. You need the money to be successful, and you need to be able to deal with the players, and they need to be able to respect you, because it doesn't matter if you've got 95 England caps and a Champions League and a league title. The players will figure you out, no matter what level you're at, if you try to pull the wool over their eyes.
It's going to be fascinating watching them begin their managerial career. What is even more fascinating than that, Craig, is when you get to make your World Cup prediction.
I thought he was going to be manager.
The World Cup predictor is over there on the big board. You haven't done it yet. You're saving up the juice for
I've
that.
got to get up to speed. I'm still on.
Well, Citizen wants an early take, early predictions for you for semi-finals of the World Cup.
I'm doing it tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. So don't answer his question. We'll keep him in suspense.
I've got to work out
I
how.
can't wait.
Who's in
He's
it?
going to be practicing how to operate that board between
Who's in
now
it?
and then. Next 24 hours.
Bloody new
Somebody.
studio.
Somebody's in it.
The show, David, yeah, Holland.
Trinidad and Tobago.
There's a Holland-New Zealand semi-final, I think.
Trinidad and Tobago.
Predictor. Show available every day on ESPN Plus.
Well, it was the news that woke us up this morning. Shaka Hislop, Zinedine Zidane stepping down as Real Madrid manager, and that leaves a very big hole. And if you're wondering why Arsene Wenger's picture was just there, well, it's because best believe Wenger has timed some very interesting comments saying that Real Madrid is one of those teams that he's loved as a kid. Shaka, now we're very tempted to laugh at the probability of this. Our own Gab Marcotti kind of said this is a little far-fetched. But what do you think? Is it that far-fetched?
Yeah. It wouldn't have been far-fetched 10 years ago, 15 years ago maybe, but the Arsene Wenger that we've seen over the last couple of years, and given his record at Arsenal over the last couple of years, it's desperately far-fetched for a number of
But he'd
reasons.
have different players now and a different bank that he can dip into this time at Real Madrid. So
Sure,
not
but
that much work
but
to do
at
as he did at
the
Arsenal.
same time, Arsenal failings fall at his feet. He was in charge. He was the one who signed those players. So it's not as though he inherited a poor squad and couldn't make a whole lot of it. And yes, the demands would be totally different. But still, I just feel Arsene Wenger now doesn't tick any of the boxes for me in terms of Real Madrid manager.
All right, well, let's have a look at some of the odds on to be the next manager for Real Madrid and fill those shoes that Zinedine Zidane is leaving behind. Putting Wenger aside, Mauricio Pochettino's in the mix. We know that's not going to happen. He just signed a new deal at Tottenham. Antonio Conte, Guti, and Joachim Löw, Shaka. So what do you think of these, and where should Real look next?
Yeah, well, again, we spoke about Wenger. Pochettino just signed a new 5-year deal. I just don't see Spurs letting him go, not now, even for Real Madrid. The bottom three, I think, tick a lot of boxes. Antonio Conte, still, for all intents and purposes, Chelsea manager, though we expect that relationship will be severed by in the next couple of months at the very least. And then you've got Jogi Löw is a very interesting proposition because as long as he's been manager of Germany, you just can't help but wonder, does he yearn for the day-to-day of club management? I think there's been an assumption that it would be in Germany if he did decide to step away from the German national team, but maybe a club like Real Madrid kind of piques his interest. And then Guti, you understand, because of how good Zidane was in stepping out of a similar role and into the hot seat at Real Madrid. You saw the success that Pep Guardiola had at Barcelona in doing something similar. And maybe it ticks boxes in terms of the fans, in terms of how much the fans would like him, appreciate and respect him, and maybe give him a longer honeymoon period in that you are taking over European champions. There will be a certain expectation. Maybe Guti goes away with the fans as well. So the bottom three, I certainly think, in terms of that shortlist, that's where the next manager comes from.
All right, well, something tells me we're going to spend a lot of time talking about this.
But it was a more immediate need that had to be addressed, and he did that. And now, with the luxury of knowing that he'll be in the Premier League next season, you can start to put the building blocks in place for that long-term project. And Marco Silva, now all of a sudden available, your first choice. I think Everton have done the good thing, the sensible thing, and probably done it a lot cheaper than it would have cost them, what, 6-7 months ago.
Well, I heard the cries of Everton fans saying that they wanted more attacking flair in their football. Will Silva bring that?
I think so, and you saw that. You see what Silva brought, certainly in terms of his survival, near survival with Hull City a couple of seasons ago. They will be better defensively. They will play as a unit more, and yet still, I think, bring the type of attacking football that Everton want. I think it's a very sensible appointment. Now, he's got some work on his hands to do, because as good a manager as he is, let's remember that this is an Everton team who, under Sab Allardyce, yes, they survived, but still left a lot to be desired. You've got Keane in centre of defence. You had Mangala coming on loan from Manchester City, but then you get a 35-year-old Jagielka as your centre back. You've also got a Wayne Rooney, who is your team's leading scorer in the league at least, who's now moved on, and understandably. Nias had 8 goals. Outside of that, nobody else had more than 5 goals in the league. So there is work to be done this summer. It's not going to be all smooth sailing between now and the middle of August when the league kicks off. But it is an exciting prospect, and I think it ticks all the right boxes for manager and club alike.
All right, thanks so much to Shaka Hislop. So Everton finally have Marco Silva, and it's looking like a win-win situation. Well, it's no news that Raja Nainggolan has been left out of Belgium's squad for the World Cup this summer. Shaka Hislop is here with me. And Shaka, there seems to be a little bit of a rift between him and manager Roberto Martinez. Martinez saying that he left him out because of tactical reasons. But here's what Nainggolan had to say, because I think he's hinting that it might have been something more. He says, some people criticize me for smoking, and I can understand. They feel that I should be a role model for youngsters, but I'm a footballer, and I want to be judged based on my performances on the pitch. So Shaka, some saying that he might not have been worth the headache that he can or could provide possibly in the Belgium squad. What do you think, and what do you make of his comments?
I'm not surprised by his comments at all. And first of all, I'm fully with Nainggolan here. No footballer sees themselves as a role model. Everybody else does. Everybody expects them to act as such. But as a player, you hope and you want to be judged on by what you do on the park. Now, what everybody else sees is entirely up to them. At the same time, I never believed he was left out for tactical reasons, as Roberto Martinez says.
So he is judging him on more than just his football?
Well, without question. For me, without question. And whether he's a disruptive influence in the dressing room, again, that is something that neither manager nor players' comments has touched on, but is the only thing that makes sense in this regard.
Which is something that Martinez has every right to do as manager.
Absolutely. As manager, that's your right. And you will be judged on this Belgium squad and how deep it goes. It doesn't matter who's in the squad. That's your pick. You will be judged whether Nainggolan is there or not. If you go out in the group stage, it'll be deemed a failure. If you get to the semi-final without Nainggolan, it'll be deemed a success.
Is he that big a player, though, for you in this Belgium squad to be judging?
I think he is that good. Talent-wise, without question, he gets into this squad. Without question. You look at Belgium's midfield, you've got De Bruyne, you've got Dembele, you've got Chadli, who can all play up through the middle. What you want to do without the flanks is entirely up to you. You have a lot of option. But if you're telling me that in your squad, you prefer to have Fellaini over Nainggolan, that's just crazy talk. There's no other way to put it. That's just crazy talk. Now, again, maybe his personality is disruptive. Whatever it may be, maybe you don't think he fits in terms of that other central three. Fine. But, don't tell me he doesn't get into your squad for tactical reasons.
All right, well, it seems like Martinez and Nainggolan have some issues they need to sort out, but according to Shaka, he's going to be a miss, and Belgium might be missing him a lot sooner than later. Nothing like a little international friendly predictor to bring Shaka and I together, right, Shaka, and get excitement going as we count down to the World Cup this summer. Now, we know that it's never really easy to predict international friendlies, but we're going to give it a go. France, Italy.
Yeah, I'm going to go France here. Obvious reasons. France are the ones getting ready for for the World Cup. I think they'll make a better effort of it. It'll prove good opposition, but I get France.
You know what? I'm going for the Italians on this
All right.
one. I think that they still have plenty points to prove, and they've got another 4 years to do so. So why not start now in an international friendly against France?
Okay.
Egypt. A lot of eyes on Egypt this summer against Colombia.
I'm going to go Colombia against Salah-less.
Oh, is that
Egypt.
why? Is that why?
Yeah.
But wouldn't they want to prove that they can still hang on without Mo Salah?
Well, Salah, by all accounts, will only miss the opening game of the tournament. So they're waiting for him to come back. And I think you'll see that. I think you'll see a decent performance, but clearly missing that spark. And Colombia's a decent outfit. Don't write them
Oh, no,
off
of course
at
no.
all.
I love me some cafeteros. But you know what? I'm going to go with the Egyptians on this one, Shaka. We're just disagreeing on everything today.
Yeah.
What about this one? England, Nigeria.
I'm going to go England. I'll tell you
Oh.
what, England are always good up until the end of the group stage. Friendlies leading up, group stage, great.
Up until
And then
the
all
end.
of a sudden, so I'm going to go for England.
To come up trumps in an international friendly.
They're going to win the friendlies.
5-0. And then it's going to just start this massive
And all the
pandemonium.
media is going to
and
go,
England's going to win the World Cup. So
yep.
you know what? Just for that, I'm going to go with
All
England
right,
again
okay.
now. Sweden, Denmark.
I am going to go Sweden here. I have this thing with Denmark. They always look good going into tournaments, and then when they get there, nothing. Up in smoke. I'm going to go Sweden.
I'm going to go for a draw on this one. Just because
All
one
right.
never knows.
That makes sense.
We'll see. Finally, Belgium, who we've been talking quite a bit about, against Portugal.
Yeah. I'm going to go Belgium.
Oh, Shaka.
What?
Okay, go ahead.
Belgium only favours going to the tournament. I don't think they'll be as good as many people think. But at this point, I think Belgium have a lot to prove to themselves, to their manager. Portugal, not as much. Belgium.
People love counting Portugal out, and they did silence people who did that at the Euros, but yeah, in an international friendly. Let me just
So
go with
after
Belgium.
all that,
Let me
after
just go
all
with
that, you didn't
Belgium.
pick them.
Shaka, I'm just showing my knowledge.
Oh,
or lack
right,
thereof.
yeah.
Anyways, it's an international friendly.
People
We'll
love
see
them,
who
but I'm
shows up.
quick and I hate them too.
We love Belgium. We want to see them perform. Well, thanks so much to Shaka Hislop. Keep track of all of these friendlies right here. A very excited Shaka Hislop is joining me, getting ready to tackle some rumors in transfer rates. Shaka, I know you're going to love a lot of these, especially this first one. Arnautovic, dare he leave a club like West Ham and go to Manchester United?
Who would leave West Ham for Man United?
Anyone?
Who would leave Pellegrini for Jose Mourinho? Nobody. Nobody. In all seriousness, I just don't. I like Arnautovic a lot, but I just don't see him going to Manchester United. Playing a big role for West Ham, I just see him as a bit part player. If he does go to Old Trafford, doesn't make sense to me.
What about this one? Arsene Wenger, even though he's got the little ESPN FC logo right beside him, contrary to popular reports, he's not coming here. Shaka, you don't have to worry about your job. But to Real Madrid, because he's recently said some comments that it was a team that he loved as a kid. Now Zinedine Zidane's gone, so...
Yeah, that's not the only thing it takes to hire a manager. Oh, I used to like you when a long time ago. Arsene, I'm sorry. You've got to stay with your little ESPN badge for just a little bit longer.
Just a little bit longer. Oh, Shaka, watch out for your job. Ericsson now to Real Madrid. This is one that's been floating around the pipelines for some time. Hit or miss in your books?
Wasn't Ericsson linked with Barcelona last
everybody.
week?
Yeah.
I'm going to put this down as a miss. I like Ericsson, and I think he'll do well if he does go to the Bernabeu. But just too much uncertainty about this right now, especially with Zidane stepping down. You're not sure who's going to come in. Given the links with other clubs, I'm going to just hold my horses on that one and put it down as a miss.
A lot of uncertainties surrounding Chelsea as well. Gonzalo Higuain linked with a move to Stamford Bridge. Hit or miss?
I tell you what, I think this ticks a lot of boxes. And as much as Chelsea are in a similar boat in that, okay, I know Antonio Conte is still there for the time being. I don't expect him to be Chelsea manager to start next season. I still think they need an out-and-out, top-notch striker at Stamford Bridge. This makes sense. Whether Higuain is happy to not play Champions League football, time will tell. But I put this down as a hit because I think it makes sense for Chelsea and in particular Juventus, who have cover. And Higuain, 30 years old now? Maybe this is their last opportunity to get a big money transfer fee for the Argentine.
Well, speaking of big money transfers, this definitely could be one. Cristiano Ronaldo to PSG. Shaka, is this far-fetched?
Ronaldo is a lifer. He's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere.
I don't care what he says after games. I don't care how many toys he throws out his pram. He's a lifer.
Okay. Loyalty. Seems like you can't find it everywhere these days,
Wants,
but you will
he
find
just wants
it
more
with
toys
Ronaldo.
for his pram.
He just
That's
wants
all.
more toys.
He's throwing his toys out his pram so he can get more toys in his pram. That's all.
Makes sense.
He ain't going anywhere.
And if you're Cristiano Ronaldo, I believe that you should get them anyways. Thanks so much to Shaka Hislop. I hope Shaka gets all his toys too, and we hope that you continue to stay tuned
toys in my
to
pram.
Transfer Rater here at ESPN FC.